For the players.
I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Max Cooper.
And this is For the Players, the PopCulturists PlayStation Podcast. About 40 years of playing PlayStation and 12 plus years in that games and mini combined. I'd like to thank you for joining us in this PlayStation Conversation.
This PlayStation Conversation happens every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you'd like to join us in future conversations, you can. Come and check out our socials: Facebook, Discord, Instagram, and X. All of those links can be found in the description below.
If you want to join the conversation as it happens, head over to twitch.tv/thepopculturists. We can watch us record this show live. We can jump in the chat and become part of the show. If you want to support the show, you can. Tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation Pod. If you are listening to us on podcast services, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. If you watch us on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below. I endeavour to answer every single comment. And if you want to support us financially, you can at patreon.com/thepopculturists, as well as our merchandise store, popculturists.com/shop, where you can buy shirts, other assorted shit with our logos on it. It's a good, excuse me, it's a good week, Max.
It's a good week, is it?
It's a good week, apart from like me
As he like fucking keels over and dies.
Yeah, that's why it's a good week, because I'm just about to die. All this shit is about to be done, and I can't wait. It's going to be incredible. I bequeath for the players to you, Max. I know. What a shitty give. What a shitty thing to give you.
Why is it a good week?
Because we're both going to Blink-182. Woo! We're both getting to sort of relive and love our youth with Blink-182 playing here in Melbourne. I'm seeing them Tuesday. You're seeing them Wednesday.
Yeah, Valentine's Day.
Hey! Thankfully, both you and I have already loaded ourselves up with some what's it called? Like the playlists. We've downloaded the set list and we're already listening to it, so we're getting there ready to go. Know what to feel. You pretty pumped?
I'm stoked. I'm so excited.
Have you seen Blink before?
No. No.
Ooh, that even makes it more exciting. MGB in the chat says, hope you guys have an amazing time, and yes, we will. So I've seen them twice. I saw them at Sydney My Music Bowl, and then I saw them the next day at Soundwave. And that was when they didn't have Travis, because Travis wouldn't travel at the time. And this was around the Neighborhoods album, which is good because I fucking adore that album. It's going to see them now, which will be even better with all three of them, which would be even better again. It's at Rod Laver, so it's inside because it started raining at the last time I saw them. I've got my shirt ready to go. It's the one with the lyrics from Family Reunion.
Yeah,
you know the shit, all the words you can't see on TV.
Yeah.
So it just says on the front, Blink-182 offending mum since whenever, and on the back it's got the shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, tits, fart, turd, and twat. Which, you know, I bought it. I've never worn it because I'm like, I'm just scared to wear that in public. But I like that I own it. And now that I'm in my 30s, I don't care anymore. So I'm totally going to wear it and then probably get into a fight. And then get stabbed at Flinders Street or something.
I'm going to send you a picture because I was going to order one of these.
Yeah.
And I've now waited too long that it's not going to reach me in time.
Oh, no. Well, we have the same problem, and that's it. Joan Way, CO2. Oh, okay. So it's the lyrics for I Miss You, but they are pronounced in the Tom DeLonge fashion. So they're all weirdly spelt. But yeah, I have the same problem. Like, I wanted to get a couple of new shirts for the wrestling, WWE. So heads up, in 2 weeks, there will not be an episode because I will be in Perth and I don't want to do it while I'm over there because time zones and all that nonsense. So you get a week.
And I don't want to do it solo, so we're just not going to do it.
Exactly, just getting a week off. Done. So yeah, I got the same problem. Like, I want to get some cool shirts to wear there. Left it too late. There's no way they're going to get shipped in time. I'm just gonna wait till I get over there because I found out today they're doing like a little pop-up store, superstore, which has me excited. I'm able to get a bunch of cool shit. Hopefully, get myself a nice replica belt that I can't afford. Oh yeah,
mine's gonna come home broke.
Oh, I'm gonna leave broke. Dude, I get paid monthly now, as you know. I am in my last 5 days. Shit's dire. Is dire.
What you got to do is you got to get your monthly salary into one bank account and then pay yourself weekly.
Yeah. No, well, I just kind of leave it sit there. And I'm good. Like, I don't spend more than I should. But it's just that circumstance of if you get a little bit tight in 1 week, you're like, turn in a couple of days. But then it's January and February, right? So I had my roadside assistance, my insurance, my rego. I've got my 2-year psych assessment this week, which I need to do for my ADHD because you have to go back every 2 years. Like, you still have ADHD? I'm like, yeah. And they go, oh, okay, cool. Do you need more meds? I'm like, yeah. And that cost me like $400. That's gonna be awesome. There's a bunch of just different fucking bullshit expenditures this month, and so I'll be blown out my monthly pay in 2 weeks. Not even. I'll be paid for about 6 days, and I'll be gone. Can't wait.
Well, at least your pay rate didn't get set to $3.10 an hour.
That is true. That did chuckle me pretty hard. So Max did have it worse in that sense, because Max showed me his payslip this week. What went down? What happened?
Yeah, basically it was just a clerical error. I've been moved to a different subsidiary and like a different pay group, so my pay slips have changed, and because of that, somehow they just fucking put the decimal point in the wrong spot. So instead of getting $31 an hour, I got $3.10 an hour, and I'm severely poor until they fix it. It was supposed to be fixed Friday afternoon, but it hasn't been done yet, so I'll have to give them another call on Monday.
It's one of those things where $3 an hour is disgustingly below the minimum wage, by the way. So they better fix that clerical error fucking ASAP unless they want to get some fair work up their bum holes. What? There's a thing and I can't read it.
That's because there's a typo. That makes more sense.
Here we go. Very quickly. Thank you for the biddies. Here it is. It took a second to come into the chat. Hey, mate. Hope all is well. What is your thought on the Rock and Reigns alliance? I'm kind of digging it. Burn it down. Ask. All right. Well, before we jump into this week's PlayStation Nest, let me touch upon
hoodwink me into looking at wrestling bullshit.
All right. So, for those that are playing at home, essentially at last week's SmackDown, The Rock came out. Cody Rhodes was like, hey, Roman, I ain't going to fight you. I'm going to fight you in WrestleMania. I'll fight you later. The Rock's going to fight you instead. And everyone's collectively like, what the fuck are you doing? It's such a dumbass decision. No, not you. I know you're playing games. I can see the controller in your hand. You've made the right call. So that's happened, which is exciting. But it wasn't because it was shitty. Like, why would Cody Rhodes just give up that nonsense? In short, they had a press conference this week on Thursday, and the whole idea was, hey, this is the WrestleMania kickoff pre-show presser. We're going to essentially get everyone excited for what's happening. What's his face comes out. Roman comes out, Rock comes out. They look at each other and they're like, hey, we're going to have the best fucking match ever because we're family. And then The Rock proceeds to turn heel. Cody comes out and goes, you know what, Roman? I'm still going to fight you. And now Cody, he starts shit-talking the bloodline, the family. Rock gets shirty about it. They have a slap-off. In short, the Roman and The Rock are no longer facing each other. They're part of the collective bloodline, and they're going up to Cody Rhodes. So my theory here is that we will get Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania 41 next year. Here's why. Because what will happen is either at Elimination Chamber, or possibly, I'm going to say Elimination Chamber. WrestleMania is probably more likely, but I like it here, and because it doesn't make sense. We are going to get the Roman and The Rock versus Cody, and either very likely Seth Rollins, because they were at the presser and they beefed each other. That's a good way to scissor and be able to get The Rock in a ring, but be kind of covered because he hasn't wrestled in a while, so you can kind of hide a lot of things in a tag match. However, it is incredibly unlikely, but dear God, do I want it so bad. I want Roman and The Rock versus Cody Rhodes and Triple H. Because Triple H, yes, he's got a pacemaker and he can't fucking wrestle allegedly. The promo that he cut on SmackDown this week, he calls out The Rock directly. And it was essentially along the lines of, I will come and fight you myself. I'm the real fucking boss. You ain't shit. So that has me excited. That would be incredible. I don't think it would happen, but I would die. Because once again, you could hide a lot of Triple H's inability with Cody in the same way that Roman can hide The Rock. And it does get a big pop. With Elimination Chamber's 2 weeks away, 80,000 seat arena. As far as I'm aware, it's not sold out yet. If you want to get that bitch sold out quickly, you announce The Rock's going to be there. You announce the match that he's in, because as of yet they haven't done it. Money. And we all get collectively excited. And then essentially what will happen is, let's just say Rock and Roman win that match. They head into WrestleMania. The conversation will be, hey, Cody goes to Roman. I want you at WrestleMania, and I'm getting you at WrestleMania in the main event. However, I want none of your fucking family around. None of this outside of the ring shenanigans. No one. Nothing. Nada. And Roman goes, okay, cool, no worries. I agree to that. There will be no bloodline, none of my family around the ring. Instead, they'll be in the ring. In comes The Rock as special guest referee. So he will be doing all that heel ref bullshit. So he'll be doing really slow counts. But what will essentially happen is Cody will get the win on Roman. The Rock will be forced to count to 3. That will then build to a year's worth of Roman going, The Rock being like, you are not the head of the table. You are not the tribal chief. You lost at WrestleMania. I couldn't save you. You couldn't save yourself. And then it becomes this tale of ego and self-doubt and self-destruction from Roman as he attempts to re-establish himself in the family. That's what's going to happen until it hits the point of Roman versus Rock at WrestleMania 41. But so in the chat, Seth Rollins is injured. Yeah, probably. Everyone's fucking injured apparently at WWE for some reason. Did any of that make absolutely any sense to you?
No, because the strike's over, so Rock's can go back to making movies. And
he won't actually. Mostly because he is now involved in. He's on the board of TKO. They gave him $30 million to be on the board, and he's essentially locked himself in for like a long-term story at this point. Mostly because Black Adam did so bad, he's like, I'm going to stay away from movies for a while. I'm going to rebuild the love with the wrestling and then come back. Pretty much. And also, I reckon we could get The Rock versus Seth Rollins. I would maybe at a later date, but that's not where the story is at this hot second. I think there's a higher chance we get Seth Rollins versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight. All right, Max, I'm not going to bore you with any more wrestling because we're here to talk about PlayStation. So let's get into the section we talk about what we've been playing this week. A lot of things. Let's get into the new. Let's get into the new one. All right. So big thank you to the team over at PlayStation Australia. Max and I have both been provided not 1 but 2 codes for Helldivers 2. We were given a code on the PS5 and a code on the PC. So as this is the first game, sort of launching day and date. To talk about, to hit both those specs with Arrowhead's latest release. Burn it down. Thanks for answering the question. No, bro, appreciate it. Thank you for asking. So Arrowhead have released Helldivers 2. It is a little of a switch up from the original Helldivers, which was a 2.5D isometric game, to now third-person action, over-the-shoulder action, which is the PlayStation staple. You are going to planets to liberate them from the Terminids, but they're not Tyranids.
From their oil.
Yeah, for their oil and various freedoms. Now, I did jump on stream with this on Friday just to sort of test the bet on the streaming stuff. Played a little bit with our good friend of the show, Paul James Games, as well as sorry, I had a burp stuck. Also, one of our dedicated listeners, Sean, joined in as well as Sean from Player 2 for a little bit. Max, you jumped in for like a little bit on Saturday night until your daughter interrupted you?
I was there for like a minute and a half until my daughter, we ended up in the hospital. That was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Kids, man. hits.
She's fine though, by the way. She's fine.
She's fine.
Yeah.
Bit dramatic.
And have you not gone back to it?
I've played, so I've done the opening tutorial bit and I've done one mission.
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing on PC.
Okay. So how are you finding it on PC so far? And then I'll talk PlayStation.
Fine, runs great. The controls are a bit iffy. I had to do some rejiggering of the keybinds because they're a bit all over the place. A lot of them default as toggles, not holds.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, some of the. But once you get used to it, it's like any new game. Once you get used to it, it's fine. It looks great. It plays well with a mouse and keyboard. Having that free aim movement, even if it's just. I've noticed that I've watched some gameplay and some streams of it. I've noticed that people are getting it to when you ADS, you can ADS to first person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where that setting is. I'm only like semi zooming in, still in third person when I click the
it is doable because on the PlayStation 5 just press in R3 and you go down the scope, which is lovely.
So there's obviously a way to do it. I haven't worked out how to do it yet. It's not one of the tutorial points in the
No, I worked it out by absolute accident.
So, but yeah, the game's cool. I played it solo. I think it's definitely a game that needs to be played with other people.
Mm-hmm.
Things get hectic real quick.
Yeah.
What about yourself? How are you finding it? Because I never played Helldivers 1. So, and I didn't see any footage of Helldivers 2 going into this. So I thought it was still
I think you did without realizing.
I thought it was still a twin stick shooter. I'm like, what the hell is this? This is not what I thought you were.
So, even though I have Helldivers 1, I won it in a competition from PlayStation Australia back in the day. It was like, hey, tag your 3 other teammates and what their roles would be as part of your spaceship. And I was like, I'll be the captain. My mate Josh would be the co-captain. We'll have Dylan as the mechanic and Craig as the janitor. And then we won 4 codes. Never played it. So sorry about that, my bird. But so I played this. I said I played it in a couple different ways. Played it in a group of friends, solo, and a group of random. So I've seen it in all little variants of how you can play the game. You are absolutely correct that the game is best when you are playing it with your mates, because having that open chat is a ton of fun. Because with some of the way this game's played, there is friendly fire, so you'll be real careful. Because if you ever try to do some sort of AOE effect to blast a hole in a bunch of Terminids, very quickly it'll blow into you and take you out, as well as your friends. Also, hi in the chat to Jerdman and Josh Robinson. Hope you're doing well. But saying that though, I did play it with a bunch of randoms, and the beauty of this game, because the mission structure is simple and the game mechanics are simple and a lot of it's just wave-based shooting, there's not a lot of intense communication required. So compared to, say, Division 2. So if you're playing Division 2, which I adored, like there are some scenarios, or even Destiny 2 as an example for yourself, Max, like some of those raids, some of those moments, you need to have really strong communication. Because, like, you need to be there, all right, use this, use that, Like, outside of maybe letting someone know you're about to use an orbital strike, but even then, you see it on the map, you get an audible warning, you get a countdown timer, so there's enough information for you to get out of the way and not get your shit blown out. But I played with 3 people that I've never met before in my entire life. I didn't have a mic on. I don't have a live mic. I was just playing with them, and it was one of those little non-verbal communications. Like they would all kind of jump and go over here, and I'd do the same. Or if I found something cool, or if one of them goes down, I would just automatically organize a refill so they can be respawned back into the map. So it's super easy, like in terms of just be able to communicate with absolute randoms. Say that I did also do a run by myself, and you are absolutely correct, Max. That game gets hectic when you are by yourself, because very quickly you will be swarmed, you will be surrounded.
I struggled to exfil.
Really?
Yeah, so I found a nice little mountain to hide up on top of with the exfil, but you still got to survive fucking 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Of bullshit by yourself. And ammo is a precious commodity that is not often that runs out very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So at one point I was just pistol slapping these fools because I had no ammo. I'm just standing at the top. There was only one entrance point. I'm just standing there smacking the crap out of these things. Yeah, it was rough.
So for that reason, like, I do love a lot about this game. It does have a lot of those twin stick to, isometric systems with it, still with it. Think about it, very similar to Returnal. Not in actual gameplay, because Returnal is, oh my god, so incredibly different. But as you mentioned, right, like, you are just spraying in the same way that you would in an isometric game. Like, you are just thinking what's in front of you. You're not really aiming down the sights. You are, but you aren't. And it's just about clearing the waves as they come at you. So it's got that cool sort of Returnal arcadey feel, but without all the what I would have deemed unnecessary traversal of like jumping and there's fucking things that are getting sprayed everywhere at you. It's much more of a lockdown experience. Exploring the world is tons of fun. It's a lot of nothing, but it's, we are invading planets that are a bunch of nothing, so that's kind of the point. And you find little key things of interest, so you can, even though you're going down to do one mission, let's just say it's launch a rocket, destroy Terminid eggs, whatever it is, right? You can still go in and wander around and sort of, you'll find nests along the way that you get bonus points for. You'll find little places of interest that'll give you extra points. Sorry, Jerdman does correct me in the chat. You're not invading, you are liberating. You are liberating these planets. You are not in fact invading them. You're giving them sweet, sweet democracy. Yeah. So it's cool. So then, so back to what you were saying about that arcadey setup is when it comes to the weapons and ammo, with it being a precious commodity, you don't want to constantly be reloading because everything is organized via clips, not via rounds.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you reload early, which is a big force of habit to anyone who plays FPSs.
Oh, yes.
Making sure that you're constantly off full ammo, you just wasted 40% of your clip.
Correct. Yeah.
That you just don't get back.
Yeah. Which is very frustrating when you do it, as I said, like subconsciously, you go, no. That's the worst. It's the absolute worst. But yeah, I'm enjoying what I'm playing so far. Yes, there's microtransactions. It is a games as a service, essentially. However, as of right now, I'm not being compelled to do so. I'm just kind of jumping in and having fun. And I imagine as it gets harder and gets more challenging, you might need those things. And as of yet, there's no season passes or anything. So at least that's, like, for me, I'm even though I'm so riddled with ADHD and impulse control, it's crazy. Microtransactions never really hit me, like, at all. I'm very lucky in that sense. Yeah, it's not too bad. Like, I enjoy it. It looks good. Like, the HDR implementation's fantastic. When you get smoked, like, you can't see a fucking thing. It's incredible. The enemy design is cool. The ability to sort of, like, airdrop weapons, supplies, like AoE effects, makes it a ton of fun. Like, to go in and you're like, all right, well, you have what's on your back, but you have this arsenal above you that can really cause a lot of damage, which I love. So you do get a lot of that Starship Troopers energy. You also get what I feel is a lot of Warzone energy, because it's PvE and it's like that idea of like squatting together and, you're going for one objective, but you can do a bunch of things along the way. It's got kind of like it's giving me that same level of intrigue that like Outriders did, not in gameplay obviously, but in wanting me to keep going forward and seeing what that next bit of loot is, or finding that next thing that I can launch from the sky. For what it is, I absolutely dig it. I know I have not touched on PC yet. I haven't put that code in, as I don't play a lot on my PC anyway. I'm like, yeah. But, yeah, look, for what... at this moment in time, I think the game is incredible. We'll give it more time. We'll see what happens. But as the first impressions go, big old thumbs up from this guy.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Joe Man in the chat says, would have been cool to check it out, but alas, no review code. Didn't think it's worth the investment for how long I'll play it. That's totally true. The Joe Man says, I hold fire until it goes click, click, click every single time, straight up. Any Neil Patrick Harris, any NPH cameos? I don't know, I'm aware of. No.
Not that I've seen.
No. One thing we have also been playing, Max, is Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. So we touched upon this last week as we both jumped into it for the first time. I've kept playing it. You've kept playing it. I've talked non-stop about Helldivers for a little while. Max, it's your turn to talk.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, we both been playing more Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. And I got, so we mentioned last time that we had both essentially got to Hawaii.
Correct, yes.
I can now play chess. Or what is shogi. I can play shogi now. There is a mini game where you play chess against people, and I played chess for 3 hours in Infinite Dragon the other night. Right. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. The side games are so hilarious in this game.
It's interesting, and like not in like a. This just shows the depth of these Like a Dragon / Yakuza games. I have played it longer than you. So I am further in the story than you. I haven't seen that. What I'm about to do, I'm about to do essentially an escape room in a shopping center.
Well, that's cool.
Pretty cool.
That sounds cool.
Like in terms of mini games, like the only thing I did was like the delivery. That was a stack of fun. Like being an Uber guy on a bike, that was awesome to get some cash. So Joe Man in the chat goes, I'm going to main game the restaurant management. Yeah, apparently there's like a management game, which you mentioned to me there was, which got me really, really excited. I don't know where that is yet or why have I not found it.
I'm also fairly sure there's a Pokemon ripoff in it too.
There totally is, and it's all about it's just versing different enemies. So you just got to collect them all as you take on. Yeah.
Got to catch them all, don't
No, you collect them. You don't catch them. That's trademarked. We don't want to get no fucking PAL World level potential lawsuit up in this, all right? All right?
So so essentially after one of the story cutscenes, you're left in a car park, and I just went the wrong way, and there was just this homeless guy sitting out in it like a front lawn, and he's like, "You want to play some shogi?" And I'm like, "I'll play some fucking shogi." And then all of a sudden, it was 3 hours later, I was playing the shit out of some shogi. It does increase your character's intelligence, which is cool.
That's cool.
There is benefits for it.
Oh, of course.
You get prizes and all that fun stuff. And then it's like, hey, you need to go over here to progress the story. And as I was walking, it's like, there's a new type of enemy in the area. These enemies have crowns on their heads, and if you beat them, they unlock secret passageways that you can go down to after. I'm like, I am now going to hunt down every single person with a crown on his head, beat the living, patootie out of them, and level up, because I'm all about them gains, and go find all their secret shit. So I've been doing that. I've completely forgotten about the story, and I've just been beating the shit out of random mobsters on the streets of Hawaii and playing chess.
So how many hours have you put into it?
Like 8 or 9.
Shit. Well, I'm at like 8, and I am noticeably further than you from the campaign perspective. But as I said, I've not messed about with any of the shit that you've just said, which is fascinating. Like, I know there's karaoke at the bar. I haven't tried that yet.
Yeah, I haven't done it because it explains to you shortly before where we're up to. It's like it introduces you because you're in a new area. It's like, hey. A lot of the side quests get introduced to you organically. Some of you go out and find, but one of the ones that you that's organically introduced to you is called I think it's Aloha Motherfuckers, or I think technically it says MFers.
Yeah.
And it's just someone coming up to you going, Aloha Motherfucker. I'm like, oh, okay. And then all of a sudden, when you do that to people, you become friends with them on an app, and it's like Hawaiian Tinder for friendship.
Oh, but there's literally fucking Tinder in this game. Like, you not just for friends, for fucking straight up a game of Tinder. It's fascinating. You get into this complete conversation with this woman, Madam something. You literally gamify Tinder, which Tinder itself is gamifying dating. But what's fucking insane, and I was commenting about this last week, Max, is there was an interesting moment. I don't think we remember talking about this on the show, but there was almost like the game was trying to instill life lessons on how to communicate, and then I'm playing this Tinder game, and it's essentially going, oi, you giant weeb, Don't talk to people like that. Treat them with respect. Ask questions. Care about them. Engage with them. I'm like, is this game just telling, like, giant anime fans how to fucking approach women? That's kind of cool. That's not a bad thing. Like, once again, my old job was all about using games to build skills and capacity building. And a lot of those things were, you know, like self-reflection, self-understanding, communication. Like, it's perfect in that sense because you don't realize, and then at the end you go, oh, hey, and then you might go, oh, there was that one time that I did say those weird things to that girl once. And then you kind of go, oh, maybe I should have done it like that or like this. And even then, like, these interesting references to, because they talk about in the, you know, when you talk to this woman as well, she's all like, oh, you know, there's this, my Tinder app's full of microtransactions. And he's like, what? And she's like, well, how do you watch things get made money these days? Everyone wants everything for free. You don't get it. Like, it has to cost money. It's a fucking business. So, like, you're learning how to communicate with women and the fundamentals of games industry at the same time. It's a very well done game.
It just has such a unique charm to it.
It is. And I do think a lot of it does stem within the character of Kasuga. So, with him having, as I discussed last week, this Goku, joyful, childlike optimism towards the world, but knows that they've seen a horrible side of this world and they've experienced shit, and they're a lot more stronger and adult and mature than their clear outward appearance. It does kind of make it fun because you're going into all these new scenarios with that wonder.
Yeah.
But it's not like that. It's interesting. Like, so one of the issues that I have with anime in general is its infantilization, where, especially with women characters, they become super childlike and super, like, submissive, and that's not how real people are, right? Like, all that does is add to the disgusting fetishization of Japanese culture. But what I love here is that every female character that I've met speaks like a person. They don't have that, like, very anime delivery, which I really appreciate. And admittedly, it's the thing that will keep me engaged in this game longer than any other JRPG ever has. And but Kasuga has it instead. But it's also not like, because he's not a woman, and Japanese games love sexualizing women. I don't give a shit about dudes half the time. That it has that without all the other tropes and grossness that comes with it, but it also allows this. Especially, I don't know how that attitude would work if in say like an infinite, so Yakuza Like a Dragon, like the one that just came out prior to this one, where you are still in Japan. I think a lot of that childlike joy and energy works really well in that fish out of water scenario that is Japanese dude in Hawaii. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Very much.
Yeah. It's fucking awesome. And
it's
like
so
the group's great. I really love my little troop of dudes. You know? Some guy tried to rob me as a taxi driver, now he's my friend. Once again, I went, hey Max, tell me what you think, and I didn't shut up for 5 minutes.
It's so fascinating because one of the characters you meet once you head over to Japan is obviously clearly someone who has been introduced way earlier in the series, but it still does such a good job of explaining exactly who this person is, what they mean to you, how you've interacted with them in the past, and I got that all within the space of like a 10-minute interaction with them.
And to this game's credit, that is all without unreasonable exposition. Like they very quickly in the games, in the character, in the performance, in the delivery from these characters, you learn, you go, oh, this is someone that I have met before. I don't have the context for them as a new player. But you can feel like this can only happen in a series, in a game that has had this many iterations where they know their characters, they know their ins and outs, so you don't have to have them go, oh man, remember that one time that we did this, that, the other? Oh, we have been friends for years, haven't we?
Because that was originally what I thought was going to be the biggest hurdle for me, was the fact that I had never played any of this series. I'm like, this is like the 9th game or something like that. I'm like, how well is it going to onboard me to these characters? And the answer is like ridiculously well. And like it's ridiculously quick, but it's not what's the word? It's enough time to know that character well enough that it doesn't feel like forced upon or rushed. Like it does happen quickly, but it's not forced or rushed. It's a really interesting way of doing it.
Yeah, and the game doesn't treat you like an idiot. It goes, hey, they know each other. Cool. Yep, their relationship's positive. Done. You'll learn the rest as you keep playing.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's one thing I do really, really appreciate. Just that level of. I guess I think we're like, when it comes to movies at the moment, like even like we're using MCU as an example, like every movie, they kind of like there are moments where they just look down the barrel of the camera and then explain everything, because for whatever reason the writers at Disney believe that you are so stupid that you just can't learn from the movie that you're watching, or the movie's so poorly ass written that you will be confused unless they tell you. So where this game trusts you, it respects you, and goes, you will learn who these people are along the way. Let's go.
Yeah.
And I love that. Love it. And it does have all like the beauty of, for things, as much as I don't like anime, there are some style choices in anime that are really fun. Like just how, pardon me, a character in this game modifies a weapon. It's all like, you know, like big, like fantastical movements for no real reason, and it just has that real kind of like yeah, as they're like just modifying a baseball bat. Game's dope, so dope. Speaking of games that I want that should be dope, but they ain't, a Suicide Squad. So I did spend some more time with Suicide Squad this week, Max, and I still haven't installed it yet. For shame.
I totally forgot that we had it.
Yeah. So I'm a lot further down than I was previously. Excuse me. Very similar to Gotham Knights, Suicide Squad it's giving me the same problems in that I like the story, the characters are fine enough, but everything else in between is not very fun. Like when every mission is go over there and just kill waves of shit, and then move somewhere else, do it again. It is really, really repetitive, and the game is so much visual fucking noise that even myself, with my full-blown ass ADHD, gets over stimulated by this game.
Did you play Marvel's Avengers? Does it play like that, where no matter what task is given to you, it's essentially go to a point, face some waves, and move on?
Yeah.
Ah, it sucks.
Yeah.
Damn. Is the combat at least fun?
No, it's fine.
It's fun.
Like once again, this game is aggressively fine, and in some scenarios, that's good. You know, and if this game wasn't released by Rocksteady, if this was Warner Brothers Montreal, if this was the same people that made Arkham Origins, or you know, if you know, though instead of Gotham Knights we got this, I'd be like, yeah, it's fine. And they said the same thing for Gotham Knights as well. I was like, yeah, Gotham Knights was fine. But here, the expectation, the potential of what Rocksteady should be able to deliver is so much better than this. Like, yeah. I didn't really like Arkham Knight at the time for a lot of small inconveniences. Like, one of the big story flips wasn't really a story flip. The Batmobile is a bit shit. Like, it throws you into scenarios where it forces you to do it and it's really frustrating. But comparatively to the Suicide Squad, the Arkham Knight fucking rules. Because it had a clear narrative, had a clear design style. It was just good. Where here, like, there are moments where the characters get to shine, but I spend more time going, ugh, I just have to go over there, do that same wave-based shooting, make sure I reload my weapon at the optimum time, and then just get bored. That is Suicide Squad. Which bums me out, because I really wanted it to be better. Saying that, though, if there's cool action figures, though, I'm still probably going to buy the action figures, because I quite like the Arkham style. That's what my predominant style, collection is Arkham action figures. So I like the design of Captain Boomerang specifically. I think he looks fun. I dig it. Anything else you've been playing there, Max?
Not really. Dabbling again in Rocket League and League of Legends. I haven't touched the Final Fantasy VII demo that released last week.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in one of those spaces of like that they've made it aware. They've announced that if you play the demo, you can skip that portion in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But my understanding, and from what you can kind of piece together from the marketing, it's not the very start of the demo. So I'm like, I don't want to play it out of context and then be able to skip it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, maybe I'll just wait, because I want to experience it in its intended path. And because so they announced that it's the Nibelheim chapter, which is kind of like the flashback. It tells you a lot about the story, how Cloud and Tifa grew up, how their relationship is, all of that fun stuff. And then they've also announced that before the launch of the game on the 29th of February, they're also going to update it and introduce the Junin chapter. Now, depending on how you played Final Fantasy VII, they're kind of... They're pretty close together, but they're not one after the other from memory. So again, it'd be this weird, possible, like, potential out of placeness that I just would prefer to play it in context. So I think I'm going to skip it, which is annoying because you get gear if you have a save file for the. So I might have to just play a little bit.
Yeah, just go and get a save file and then switch it off.
And then switch it off to get the bonus goodies that will carry over. But yeah, not much.
Didn't you roll credits on Tekken 8 this week?
I did roll Tekkens on Credit 8. Yes, I did roll credits on Tekken 8. Fuck me, that last cutscene goes for 40 bajillion years.
Yeah.
That last fight is fucked.
Yeah,
I thought it was over.
The last fight, it's not really major spoilers because it's a fighting game, is you spend you do 11 rounds of Jin versus Kazuya, and don't fucking die, neither of them. It's crazy.
So having rolled credits on that, the story is once again absolutely batcrap crazy like the rest of Tekken. There's clearly an opening for some more King of Iron fisting. Like, it's just... The game's so good, though. The fighting is so good. The momentum of the gameplay, their transition from cutscene to fighting straight away, amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Once you roll credits on the actual story, you unlock the character stories for 2 more characters. I've played through one of those characters. That character is ridiculously overpowered, and I can see why she got nerfed into the fucking ground in the most recent patch, because it was fucked. Her basic punch combo does 60% of your health. Oof. And it's not even hard to do, because it's just 3 fucking punches. There's no special input for it. You just hit punch 3 times and you fuck people up. It is ridiculous.
Is this post-nerf as well?
I think so. So yeah, I haven't played any more online. I've just dabbled in a bit more of the character stories. I think I've done about 70% of them now. Mm-hmm. They're all fairly cool. They're very, very quick, as I've mentioned. I think it's 4 fights and a boss fight, and then you're done. One of them, I perfected my way through all 5 fights. I literally just punched the dude in the face constantly. I've been trying to... I've seen a lot of videos online of King's combos, who's the luchador. You can do a 90% HP throw combo.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I've been trying to learn how to do that.
Because there's one where, you pick them up, you can slam them, and then you pick them up again. Like, when they bounce up, you grab them, you can power bomb them down. And I've seen one where, you punch them, you send them up, then you'll do the backbreaker, which is you drop them onto the knees. Cool. Oh, man, being the wrestling dork I am, King's moveset is exceptional. Especially when one of his grabs is a DDT, because who doesn't fucking love a good DDT?
So it's been fun just being silly and mucking around with it. But yeah, the story's cool. It does some interesting things to the back end where it's not just a simple one-on-one Tekken fight. They kind of bring back I think it was Tekken Force mode from Tekken 3, where you kind of got a multitude of enemies attacking you all at once, and you have to clear the battlefield. That was cool.
But it also very quickly demonstrates the restrictive setup of the game, because the second yes, Tekken is a third three-dimensional fighter, kind of, in that you can duck and weave backwards and forwards.
You can move the Y and Z axis.
Yeah. However, the second you try to go in like a 3D surround space, you realize how stiff everything is, and you go,
But it also kind of it also really recommends you just use the special heat burst attacks, because you've got unlimited heat burst.
Yeah.
So you stand there and spam your big attacks, and you kind of hit everyone anyway. To kind of overcome that slight jankiness of the. Because although you can lock on if you're facing the wrong direction, even though you're locked on, you won't automatically turn and face them.
No.
So you'll just kick in the wrong direction, which is hilarious.
But it's fun. It is fun destroying a bunch of Jack-8s, though.
But it's also batshit crazy that there's fucking 6 people all having a conversation in different fucking languages, and they all understand each other despite the fact they're all speaking their own fucking language.
I truly adore that, actually, because it kind of does set up this idea that there is no language better than anybody else's. It was we're not all talking English, we're not all talking Japanese. Fuck you. We are doing exactly what they speak, what would make sense for their character, and everyone goes, okay.
Gotcha.
It's kind of like in Spider-Man 2, how suddenly everyone knows ASL, right? Because of Haley, which is also fucking cool. All right, let's get into the next section we call Inform the Players. We tell you about what happened this week in PlayStation. Now, it's a quiet week, Max. Not a lot, but the couple of things are pretty massive. Let's kick off with the first one.
So it's the biggest this week. PlayStation have had their biggest PC launch ever. Helldivers 2. Helldivers 2 has blown up. It continues to climb the Steam's most played charts, now peaking at almost 120,000 concurrent players, with presumably bigger numbers to follow as the weekend goes on. This means it's now PlayStation's biggest ever PC launch, outperforming even God of War. Of course, there is a key qualifier to consider here, namely, it is the rare day-and-date release on PC from PlayStation Studios, while God of War was ported several years later. Sony said that it's not going to abandon its console exclusivity, but it has suggested live service titles, like Helldivers 2, will likely launch on PC at the same time as PlayStation 5. The strategy appears to be working as intended in this instance, which makes sense. If it's a live service game, why would you cut off your player base for a specific period of time to have console exclusivity?
100%. So this is the same advantage that Microsoft have been having for forever when they do their day-and-date PC, PS5, PC and Xbox, and everyone go, aha, yeah. But they're the same hand shaking each other because they own the same platforms, right? Fuck them, who cares? But here it's still genuinely impressive. PlayStation, shout out to them for being willing to do that, and for us as reviewers as well, provide us reviews codes for both, which was awesome as a great way to experience that as well. I certainly hope that moving forward for their games as a service releases, they are going to do this more day and date setup, because for games as a service, what's the most thing you need, Max? Players. The more players you have, the more success that game has. And what we're seeing right now is exactly that. They had a game that was impressively not marketed all that heavy, or even say all that well, but for whatever reason, it has piqued enough interest, and I would argue that a big part of that interest is cross-play, for people to go, oh, I'm going to check this out. So I can play with my console buddies, or I can play it on my console or my PC. Sick. Yeah, it's fantastic. as a PC player, Max, like how does this work for you? Obviously, we do here. We play a lot of PlayStation. It's the name of the whole idea of the show.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I obviously, like you mentioned, we were lucky enough and kind enough to have received codes for both PlayStation and PC. With the way it happened, I ended up receiving the PC code first, so I booted up on PC. I'm like, I want to be able to play with you guys tonight at launch because it had a global launch of 8 p.m. on Friday night, I think it was.
Yep.
I'm like, I want to be able to play, so just in case the PlayStation code doesn't come through, I'm going to boot it up on the PC. I can cross-play. We can use Discord. We can do what we need to do. We'll get in, we'll play, and then obviously family stuff happened that I couldn't play anyway. Depending on the title, sometimes I do prefer to play on PC versus PlayStation. Had the code for PlayStation come through first, I would have been playing on PlayStation as opposed to PC, but it also gave us the rare opportunity to make some more content around this game. Obviously, you streamed it. I was planning on recording my gameplay at the same time. Now that I've got capture cards and I'm all set up, just to have one of those here this is what it's like on PlayStation, this is what I'm experiencing it on PC, and just have that, little comparison. And obviously, with my kid being sick, my plans kind of fell through, unfortunately, but it is nice to have options. Now, obviously, I can pull higher graphics, higher frame rates on my PC versus my PlayStation, just because I'm lucky enough to have quite a good PC. So I think I was playing it at 4K 120 frames on PC, which it does not do on PS5. But it looks... It does look really good. And then obviously, I don't think we mentioned at the start, each of the aliens have individual breakpoints that you can shoot off. So it kind of it looks real good when you're sitting there like hacking the limbs off them, and it works really well. So I'm really glad that they did decide to do the parody launch of PC and console, and like that, like the story mentions, it makes sense for a live service title where players are the key to success in a live service game. It makes sense to not cut their player base off before the game's even started by only launching it on a console exclusively for a short period of time, especially if ultimately it's going to be on PC anyway. Obviously, with their single player games, it's not as prevalent to have it drop day and date. There's going to be those people who are like, I still want to play that game. It's not like I'm missing out or falling behind because I'm, X levels lower than all my friends who are still playing this game. That's when I think it would be a detriment to not have it launch simultaneously. So
yes, it is cross play, but I'm not quite sure about cross progression. Did you have to log in with your PlayStation account at any point?
No.
Interesting.
No, it's just it. They sent me a Steam key. I just activated the key through Steam, bam, done, and it's just linked to my Steam account. I don't think there is cross progression.
Yeah, because I'm just curious, because I wouldn't mind playing on the PC a little bit, but also I don't want to if I lose what I've just done on the PlayStation. Interesting. Oh, quick Google there by Max. Checking it out. This is the joys of you not having your clickety-clacking keyboard anymore. Apart from me pointing it out, it would get away with it.
Because it's not dark mode for some reason, and my face is probably bright as fuck.
Did help.
No.
No cross progression. Interesting.
There is no cross save or cross progression implemented in Helldivers 2.
Easy.
At time of writing. So the answer is no, but the likelihood of them putting it in is pretty small because, like you said, you do not log in with a PlayStation account. Arrowhead don't have their own login.
It's a second party. It's a second party exclusive, so it doesn't have to. It has some of the PlayStation helps support this, have helped finance this game. Yeah, but they don't have say over it as they would.
But it's not like a Capcom game where you log in with a Capcom ID that's universal across all consoles, or the Tekken Fighter one, or there's no login.
Pardon me. Let's get into the next bit of news. You've entitled it, Max, Do I Own It or Not? It's a good question. Sony has single-handedly managed to piss off the entire anime community. I had no idea, because fuck them. As it's announced plans to erase purchased digital content as part of Funimation's merger with Crunchyroll. Sony effectively has a stranglehold on the popular form of media, as it owns all the major streaming services and a chunk of content. Although it would argue the existence of Netflix and Disney Plus means it doesn't have a monopoly on the market. That's not something from eradicating huge chunks of digital content, however. When Funimation ceases to exist from the 2nd of April 2024, in addition to offering an on-demand streaming, Funimation would also release physical DVDs and Blu-rays, including digital codes which allowed the content to be added to a user's library and streamed, pardon me, quote unquote, forever. And as when it comes to streaming, we do know that forever is long, like a license until they choose not to. Except these digital codes will cease to exist later this year. Quote, please note that Crunchyroll does not currently support Funimation digital copies, which means that access to previously available digital copies will not be supported, end quote, a spokesman said. They also added, quote, however, we are continuously working to enhance our content offerings and provide you with an exceptional anime streaming experience, end quote. Those that hold on to their DVDs and Blu-rays will, of course, still be able to enjoy this content, but some are frustrated because they decided to resell or gift their physical copies, assuming they'd have access to the content digitally indefinitely. It's a stark reminder that, no matter what a company says, digital content does not last forever. And your content is ultimately beholden to the suits and to that keep the servers switched on. Now, Max, I think this is a discussion at a greater around, not just within the anime community, but a greater topic at large. But where do you sit on this? I know you're a larger consumer of anime than I ever will be.
This hasn't affected me at all because I don't have a Funimation account. I don't purchase digital stuff through them. I use them purely as a streaming service.
Mm-hmm.
So it hasn't affected me. But yeah, it is just one of those reminders of, like, you know, Nintendo have been shutting their stores down. A lot of the PlayStation 3 store stuff has gone forever now. It is one of those things of, like, at some point, you know, to play a digital game, we have to ping the server. If that server ping doesn't exist, technically our games don't work.
Yeah.
Like, if you lose power,
yeah, if you lose power, you're fucked anyway. But
if your internet goes down and you can't ping the server, you can't play your games. It's one of those things of, you know, physical is king to a degree, but there is that ease of use of digital. You know, in theory, it could last forever. It has the potential to last forever, but does it? It is one of those things.
It is interesting. I guess from the larger concept, right? So in the chat, Mute goes kind of shows that digital can be taken away or lost, 100%. So when I used to be an avid physical collector, I got a stack of DVDs, stack of Blu-rays.
Just before you get into this, you mentioned it yourself last week when we were talking about Rock Band. A lot of the stuff that you own didn't port across, and you can't get it back because it no longer exists on the store.
Yeah, there are a bunch of songs that I like that I don't have anymore because when I transferred my from my file from my PS5 to my PS4 to 5, it corrupted. We couldn't transfer all the songs. Can I re-download them? No. On a plus side, though, Rock Band 4 is only $14 now compared to $90. So I'm going to buy it digitally so I don't have to use my disc anymore. So it's an interesting thing. As I mentioned, I used to be an avid collector of physical. I have a lot of Blu-rays. I have a lot of DVDs. Games, though, not so much. Mostly because ever since we got into the gaming content creator... No worries. The gaming content creator space... we were very lucky that we were provided a lot of review codes. So for like the last 8 years at least, my console has been essentially a digital console. I can't even tell you the last time I bought a physical game because I just don't get them anymore. And even then, if there's a game that I don't have that I want to get, if for whatever reason it's an older title, goes on sale, I grab it digitally. Now, a lot of that comes from the luxury of my own home internet. So I have high fiber, the coaxial cable internet. So I get like 900 megabits per second or whatever. So it's really easy for me to just download something without really having to think about it. Like that pressure of time or download limits is no longer there. But saying that though, as someone that used to collect a lot of movies and TV in physical, when Netflix was introduced here in Australia, I kind of stopped because Netflix at the time did everything. Pardon me. But now that the streaming wars got worse and worse and every prick has their own platform, I weirdly have not gone back to physical. Instead, I've gone to pirating again. I used to like granted, look, my ADHD is so fucking bad. I don't watch TV or movies anymore. I just really can't. But there was a window of time where I'm like, well, I'm not going to buy a physical anymore. I'm not going to torrent anything because everything is on Netflix. And, you know, the service was really good. And then now there's everything. And I simply can't afford to have them all. And on top of that, there is a bunch of things that I'd like to watch again that are not on any service because there might be somewhere in the US, but locally they are not simply not viewable. And then you also can't buy them physically. It's a whole list of bullshit that is a number of different problems that I have with the platform. Right? Parry Pelican. Hey, man, I don't think I've seen you around these parts. Welcome. I think in Australia, it's hard to justify going digital for $129 when it's on Amazon or JB for $89.99 and you can trade them in once. Yes, the price of games here really does place an impact on that all-digital future that we won't have. In that a game, just purely due to exchange, like it's a $60, $70 price in the US. Here in Australia, you're looking at $125 is the RRP. Now, granted, most physical stores will bring it down to $100 or $89, and that's pretty much cost. I think the cost price for a PS5 game is like $86. So if a store chooses to put it at like $89 or $90, they're not making a stack of cash. But they do that in order to get people in. Now, as someone that has never really been a seller of their games, the pre-owned doesn't really affect me. But I understand that for a number of people, that is the only way they can afford their next game. So that's a huge thing. But our cost, so you can't blame you can't blame your prices are high. Yes, that is totally true. But our cost of living is also very high. So yeah, as a result, I used to buy a lot of physical movies and TV, etc. I don't anymore, but I don't buy them at all anymore because I want to watch it on a service. The services are too shitty. I'll just torrent it. And then if it's really good, I'll buy the DVD or Blu-ray when I become possible. It's just interesting that it's changed, right? But this is worse because you've bought it and then they're taking it away from you. It's very different to a streaming service. I really kind of tangented there, Max, a whole bunch of nothing about digital whatever, and streaming services being poo and, whatever.
That's pretty much it, though.
Yeah, cool. Speaking of, but the real challenge around this, Max, is when you don't really own anything, when you do get those streaming services, especially here in the gaming space, like Game Pass, right? You never really own it then anyway. So, okay, fascinating. But Max, what if the reason you buy an Xbox is for their exclusives and...
You're making me skip a story.
That's no longer the case. I did. Oh, because I jumped ahead. I just saw the Microsoft part. Go to that and come back.
Well, we're now moving on to Microsoft news, everybody.
Hey!
Okay, so let's talk some shared exclusives. Everyone's heard about it. Xbox boss Phil Spencer has announced that Microsoft plans to share its, quote, visions for the future of Xbox, end quote, in a business update event this coming week. Whilst neither confirming nor denying the rampant reports that multiple Xbox exclusives shall be ported to PlayStation 5 and 4, you'd assume the speculation would be denied if it wasn't happening. All eyes turn to next week then to see exactly what Xbox has planned for its multi-platform future. The full tweet from Spencer reads, quote, "We're listening and we hear you. We've been planning a business update for next week, where we look forward to sharing more details with you about our vision for the future of Xbox. Stay tuned. 1 second.
Okay.
Oh, never mind. Ali's going. For the past couple of weeks, rumors have suggested that Microsoft is planning to port Hi-Fi Rush, Sea of Thieves to Sony systems in the near future. However, reports have kicked into overdrive in the past couple of days, and it's suggested that Starfield, Indiana Jones, and The Great Circle, and the Gears of War series are all being considered for PlayStation 5 and PS4 too. It said that PS5 dev kits are on their way to Microsoft as the firm invests in them, which is bizarre because they've released multi-platform things in the past. You would think they would have access to those dev kits anyway, in some capacity. Despite all the rumors
and scale at which they need them.
Correct. Despite all the rumors and Microsoft's reluctance to deny any of them, nobody appears to know the truth. However, one tidbit reported by journalist Shannon Liao claims that Spencer addressed employees as part of an internal town hall meeting earlier this week and stressed the firm has, quote, no plans to stop making consoles. It will, however, support, quote, multiple kinds of devices.
Well, I have many things to say, as I'm an opinionated asshole. Max, you go first. What's your thoughts on all of this? And then we'll break it into its little nitty and gritty bits.
For the grand consumer, cool.
Is it?
Yeah, why not? Let your games be played wherever people want to play their games. Let people play their games however they want to play their games. If they want to play it fucking offset thumbsticks or no offset thumbsticks, just fucking let them do it. Who cares? For the longest time, Microsoft's messaging has been very mixed, where it's like, we want our stuff to be everywhere. You can play Games Pass on everything. Fuck it. We're the service providers. And then it's like, you guys aren't getting this. You guys aren't getting this. Nah, this is exclusive now. We've bought all these people to make it exclusive. Blah, 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 blah. Don't worry. We're not keeping it exclusive. It's going to go everywhere. Well, maybe not this one, though. But that one's fine. This one, however. It's just... It'll be nice to get a definitive message from them about what the fuck is actually going on. Will we actually get that next week? Probably not.
No, not at all. Like, Microsoft, especially Phil Spencer and a lot of the team around Xbox, have been horrible at communication. Now, don't get me wrong, PlayStation aren't much better because they just don't fucking talk at all. And the problem that Microsoft has is they have too many people talking and none of them appear to be on the same page. And we've seen this before. We've seen Phil Spencer, talk out of both sides of his mouth. Don't worry, Jim Ryan's done the same. We'll get to him shortly. But, with Phil Spencer, it's this extra challenge. So, for me, the way I look at this now, as a PlayStation creator, we don't do console war bullshit, right? We just don't do it. We don't do it. Simple as that. Just look at this. I agree with you, Max. As the larger community, the larger gamer base, fuck yeah, people are gonna get their games. If they want it there, cool, done. They can buy it. It's actually legitimately a kind of great way for Microsoft to finally make money on their games, because it is straight up proven that Game Pass does not make money. Therefore, everyone that has built a game that has gone to Game Pass has lost money, and so has Microsoft. Done. Simple. Hard proven. 100% fact. This allows them to go put the game on PlayStation. They get, because PlayStation fans, PlayStation players, they know that you buy games if you want them. You buy them, give them the money that they're worth. So here, they're going to at least get some guaranteed dollary dues. And when you have games that are legitimately really good, like not JB Hi-Fi, like Hi-Fi Rush, which was pretty much the only sort of reviewed outside of Forza Microsoft game in a number of years, you want to put that in more places, right? They shadow drop that last year from when it came out. So it lost its impact. It went straight to Game Pass. A lot of people that didn't give a shit about Microsoft wouldn't have jumped on it, unless you're a diehard community member, right? Saying that though, from a diehard fan base space, this is a fucking kick in the dick for Xbox fans. Those that are on the, that are because it's an interesting position. if you are a console owner, you were already kind of kicked in the groin when every game you cared about that coming to the console, it's not really console exclusive anymore. It's also come on a PC. Same date. Beautiful. There you go. Done. No reason to get an Xbox, really. Now...
I don't have that feeling.
No. Let me finish. Now, it's like... it's no there. So it's one of those things where if you as an Xbox player, if you are in that fanboy mentality, they're all like, well then why the fuck do I bother having an Xbox? And a part of me would have a similar stance if PlayStation were to do it as well. I don't have that initial reaction of, oh, that's a bit shit.
Why though?
But, no, initially, but then I'd go, wait, who fucking cares? Right? Like, I don't have an allegiance. Like, people that run PlayStation aren't my friends. They ain't your friends. They ain't nobody's fucking friends. Right? And that's that big thing. And I understand the idea of console allegiances because we do it. It's Coke versus Pepsi. It's Apple versus Android. It's that weird tribalistic bullshit that we do. It's the reason we have a dedicated PlayStation show, not a dedicated gaming show. It's because this is the platform that we choose to play on. And with that does come a weird, like, a little bit of allegiance or a little bit of care for that brand and how they do. And
we'll be back in a second.
No worries. The thing here about how it looks for Microsoft, it kind of looks interesting in that their hands is almost forced to go into this route, but it's almost self-forced. The way they handled the launch of Xbox One and that kind of fumbled, like, that set them up on this really weird downturn. And that downturn forced them to do something like Game Pass, to be in that good favor, to be in that good graces. Pardon me. And then they can never go back on Game Pass. Ever. So the choices that they have here are twofold. There are two options. Either they do what we just mentioned, and they sell these games at full price or a reduced price, and you buy the game outright. Something the Xbox players have now conditioned not to do. So they'll at least make some money. Or do they double down on Microsoft as a service provider and continue to push Game Pass but on these other platforms? Like, is it about subscriber numbers or is it about making the money? Now, granted, it's a business. It should always be about making money. But it's one of those things. Do they want, like, which one are they wanting, right? Is their subscription numbers for Game Pass one of those elusive beats, you know, where it gets there and they hit that peak and suddenly they're making profit finally? That's that big question. But
I may have to get you to finish Solo. My kids are...
No worries.
The other kid's just woken up and he's not doing well.
That's all right. All good.
I love you all, everybody. I'll let Ryan take care of you for the quick bits and the upcoming titles. Spoilers.
Yeah, all right. Easy done.
All right, sorry, man.
No worries. Leave the call just so I don't have to recrop the shot.
Sure.
Thank you. Just mute yourself. Yeah, just leave the chair. We'll leave it with an empty chair.
I'll leave it with the empty chair, and I will.
All right, you go look after your little ones. But yeah, that's the big question, right? Do they want to do it as this or do they want to do it as that? Like, that's the big thing. And it comes down to what they're wanting to achieve in the moment. Like, what's the objective? Now, a lot of it does kind of make sense in that we've seen, like, some of the actions and communications of, like, Bethesda, that they don't want to be exclusive. And I know there's a lot of also, at least from what I've heard through other you know, in industry people that have it that way, that they don't want to be exclusive either. Like, if you were to ask any content, any game creator, it's very likely that they will then want to they want to make the game as many places as possible, right? It's simple as that. They want more eyes on their art. Simple as that. So it does beg that question of what they want to do. And that's part of that miscommunication that we're seeing with Microsoft is we've got, you know, them talking about Game Pass being the be-all and end-all and that that's the future of Xbox, but they're not. It's a weird place to be. So what does it mean? Yes, we are going to see Xbox old exclusives come across. Day and date, we'll see the likes of maybe Doom. I believe Indiana Jones probably see a couple months later. I think they kind of mentioned it. That'll be like a 3-month exclusivity window. But they've also, I think a lot of people are going to be, like, Microsoft are going to also be a little bit hesitant because they saw what happened with Shadow of the Tomb Raider when they made it 12 months exclusive, and when that 12 months was done, no one bought it. Like, it did really, like, Crystal Dynamics really got kicked right in the groin for that business decision. And it's a shame. It's a bloody shame. Because the game's fine. I really enjoyed it. But that's kind of the things, what they're wanting. So, Mute in the chat did ask, how will pricing work since some of the old games are on Xbox for years and cheaper? That's a decision. And they can charge whatever they want. And they will, because there's two ways this can go. There's a couple other ways this can go, right? If they want to push subscriber numbers, they charge you the full $70 US or $60 US on your PlayStation, right? Because the idea is if you buy 3 games that are, you buy Halo 1, 2, and 3, right? Let's just say you do that. And then you go, wait, hang on, that's a lot of money. That's like what, 60 to 120? That's $180. That's a year's worth of Game Pass. I could have a stack of games. So what, is it? By doing so, is it going to incentivize people to then go get Game Pass, or then get an Xbox, or get Game Pass on their PC, perhaps? Because they're like, look at that value discrepancy, because. No one will argue that Game Pass as a customer is incredibly good value for money, but the other way, not so much. But yeah, it's interesting what we're going to see. Starfield's going to come across. It will happen. The older games, we'll wait and see, like whether we get a bespoke Game Pass or they release it as like individual things, because the PlayStation Network does support things with like Ubisoft Play or EA Play, so there is potential for them to do that, but over here. All right, let's get into... No worries, thanks for the enlightenment. Now, Muse says thank you for the enlightenment in the chat. Now, heads up, I'm a fucking nobody. I have been a nobody for forever. Everything that I say on here is speculation, but is educated speculation. I've been working in games media for the better part of a decade now. I listen to a lot of people. I talk to a lot of people. I've read a lot of things. I've seen a lot of things. So you start to see a lot of trends and processes and just the way of doing business when you've been around it for this long, and you start to see a lot of those business practices and things how they get done. So a lot of it is learnt speculation, it's educated speculation. So I could be straight up fucking wrong. I am wrong a lot, but let's just wait and see on this one, and let's see what happens. There's quickly something about the FTC. We'll jump into this just quickly. The FTC is back. Microsoft have made an industry-shaking acquisition at the tail end of 2023, buying up Activision Blizzard King for an eye-watering just shy of $69 billion. Nice. And it took a long time to close, though, because of the intense scrutiny from a handful of different sources, one of them being the USA's Federal Trade Commission, or the FTC. Now, in the wake of Microsoft cutting thousands of jobs, the FTC is back on the company's case, accusing it of its contradictory statements made in court about how the business would operate post-acquisition. The aforementioned layoffs have affected teams within Activision Blizzard and Bethesda, as well as Microsoft, with about 1,900 employees being made redundant. Microsoft stated that these cuts were made to address, quote, areas of overlap, end quote, between the companies. This, according to the FTC, goes against what the Redmond Corporation assured its court during the deal as the deal closed. An official complaint has been issued to the 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. In it, the FTC says the Microsoft's job cuts, quote, are inconsistent with Microsoft's suggestion to the court that the two companies will operate independently post-merger, end quote. Additionally, it argues that the actions from Microsoft, quote, undermines the FTC's ability to order effective relief should the pending administration proceeding result in a determination that Microsoft's acquisition of Activision violated Section 7 of the Clayton Act, end quote. In other words, if the acquisition is deemed illegal, which is still possible as the FTC is appealing against it, the laws prevent the FTC from helping those affected. Since this complaint was filed, Microsoft legal team has put on a statement on the matter, stating by journalist Stephen Totillo, Microsoft essentially says that Activision was already planning a round of layoffs before they were acquired. Quote, Activision was already planning on eliminating a significant number of jobs while still operating as an independent company, end quote, letter reads. So in short, we were going to fire them anyway. Bad excuse. Okay, look, here's the thing. Some of these layoffs make sense. If you have, let's say, 2 PR teams, you don't really need 2 PR teams, you should have a 1. You don't really need 2 HR teams, just have 1. So, there is a lot of that, like when it comes to merger and acquisitions, that's the merger part, right? They come together and you will have a lot of jobs that are truly redundant. However, if part of the communication were that these 2 companies were to run independently, that reasoning no longer applies because you are not going to be having them run independently. You are having them run together. That is very, very different. So I doubt we'll get more on this in the near future, as a lot of it will be FTC and court stuff. But it is fascinating that they're like, we were going to fire people anyway, but we didn't because the acquisitions, so we thought we probably shouldn't. But then we got the money, so we did it anyway. Still not good. I had a feeling that this acquisition stuff with the FTC would linger on a lot longer. Didn't think it would go quite this way, though. Pardon me. Quick bits. The Ubisoft CEO, Yves Guillemot, has defended Skull and Bones' premium price tag, insisting that the game is quadruple A. Okay, so the price on Skull and Bones is exorbitant. It's fucking stupid. And a lot of it is not based in the quality of the game, quote unquote. It is because the game took 11 years to come together. They owe a lot of money. The development costs on this game are going to be fucked. No one is going to actively play this. Now, I understand that the Ubisoft are doing a lot of work to promote this game. They literally pimped out a fucking pirate ship in Sydney earlier this week. So they are investing money in marketing. They are wanting this game to do well, and they need it to come out because of the connection with this financial support from the Singapore government. The Ubisoft Singapore do need to release the game, and it is a position of this game has been developed for so fucking long, they need to make their money. So they're going to charge more, and then people will pay it because what are they going to do? Not play the game? Thankfully, with Skull and Bones, that people might just do exactly that, and then Ubisoft can suck a win on that one. That's a bad business call. Spider-Man 2 is set to be getting its updates for New Game Plus, etc. on March the 7th. My son is fucking ecstatic, by the way, because he can stop playing. Right now, I think he's finished Spider-Man 2 7 times, 8 times, maybe even 9 times. So the idea that he can get New Game Plus is a big win. For him, he'll get new suits, he'll get new power-ups. That is what excites him the most, is what he's keen to see. So big shout out to that. Disney has and finally Disney buys $1.5 million stake in Epic Games as it plans to make a quote entertainment universe, end quote. I assume this is a good way for Disney to get involved in the likes of Fortnite or Lego Fortnite or Fortnite Festival or whatever. This is their easiest way to get in and make money on the success of Fortnite while also aid in that licensing cost, right? Well, hey, we own you, so we own part of you. Therefore, licensing agreements kind of aren't really needed. So I imagine we'll see a lot more Disney products within Fortnite because they've tried an entertainment universe in the past with the likes of Disney Infinity. That didn't work because no one wanted to buy trinkety little bullshit. This seems like a great way for Disney to, and their various subsidiaries, whether it be Marvel, Star Wars, Fox, and other shit they own, coming together in a great, easy way to deliver it on that. But here are the games that are coming to your PlayStation this week. On the 12th of February, you get Airhead on PS5. Cool name. 13th of February, you will get Arzit, the Jewel of Faramore, PS5, PS4, as well as Banish's Ghosts of New Eden on PS5. On the 14th of February, you get Adventure Bar Story on PS5, PS4. Now, I assume that's one of those Kairosoft games. I adore Kairosoft games, so give me that one. Lords of Exile on PS4, as well as the well-anticipated Tomb Raider 1, 2, 3 Remastered, coming to PS5 and PS4. And on the 15th of February, you get A Little to the Left on PS5, PS4. Gunvolt Records Chronicle, spelt weird, on PS5, PS4. Played Up, PS5, PS4. Small Land Survive the Wilds, PS5. Spirit Hunter Deathmark 2, PS5. Survivor Man VR The Descent, PSVR 2. On the 16th of February, you get Skull and Bones coming to your PS5, and The Legend of Heroes of Trails of Cold Steel 3 and 4 on your PS5. And on the 18th of February, you get Slave Zero X on your PS5 as well. Big standout for me, obviously, if it is a Karasoft title, which I believe it is, because the naming convention seems to check out, is Adventure Bar Story. But honestly, the Tomb Raider 1 to 3 remaster has tickled my interest, and I do hope to check it out in the near future. But anyways, that does bring us to the end of the show. Big thank you to everyone for joining in and having a good old chat about the PlayStations. We do really appreciate it. Even got a little chat, a little nerdy about the wrestling early on. I know you all hated it, and I do apologize. But anyways, this PlayStation Conversation happens every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on your podcast services, 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you want to join the conversation in the future, be sure to check out us on social medias. That is Facebook, Twitter, Discord, and Instagram. All those links are in the description below. If you want to join the conversation as it happens, you can by heading over to twitch.tv/thepopculturists, where you can watch us record this show live, where you can jump in the chat and become part of the show. If you want to support the show, you can tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation Pod. If you are listening to this on podcast services, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. If you watch us on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below. I endeavor to answer every single comment. And if you want to support us financially, you can at patreon.com/popculturists, as well as our merchandise store, popculturists.com/shop, where you can buy shirts, other sorted shit without logos on it. But until next week, I'm Ryan Betson. He was Max Cooper, but he's off to look after his family, and we'll see you all next week. And that was for the players.